All right, we're live. It's 11:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Um, Probably only gonna be live for half an hour, but we'll see how this goes. I've been doing some testing with the new version of Fog, and I wanted to continue doing some more testing. I got frustrated earlier and walked away, and didn't actually get a video recorded, so thus the live stream at 11:30 p.m. Maybe I'm a little crazy, but hey, I'm sure I'm not the only one, as John Lennon would sing in the song Imagine back in the day. All right, so we are going to take a look at a virtual machine. I've just finished installing Linux Lite. We're going to reboot and then we're going to try to capture the image via fog using UEFI, and we're going to try a couple things too, just to see if things are going to work. Good evening, 619 OTA and Tech for Fun. Welcome to the party. We'll see if this wants to work. I've got a plan B happening if this one doesn't decide to go. I guess since I'm using the switcher, let's put me on in that corner. Okay. So I don't generally use UEFI, but I've had more and more people, and I'm guessing mostly Windows users, ask for UEFI stuff related to fog. So we're going to try this. So I've got a fresh install. Um, let's just for grins go into this. All right. So, boot manager. Ubuntu, that's fine. Okay, well, this may not do what I want it to do. So let's boot into it and see what happens. You do get a flashier, a flashier boot screen when you're doing UEFI. That's about the only thing I like about it. um, so, just a basic initial install of Linux Lite. I did it because it was quick. Hey, we've got Jason's lab in the house, and Learn Blue Iris. Hey, Joe. I'm not gonna reach a full JAU tonight. I don't think. Um, I keep forgetting that that's your other account. I was racking my brain the other day trying to figure out who that was, but uh, middle life moment, I guess. All right, so as you can see, it's functional. We're going to leave. We're going to do. We're going to just do a shutdown. Just for grins. Just for the sake of argument. Let's come here and to options, and we're going to go to boot order, And we're going to drag our network up here to the top. And I just want to see if we've got any chance of making this work. Because if I can't make it work with Linux, then I'm not going to be able to make it work with Windows. And it takes longer to install Windows, as we all know. So I don't want to invest too much time on that front if it's going to be a dead end. Start boot options. Aha! Pixie over IPv4. IP address for the server is 74.69. And it gave us the middle finger. Okay, so I'm going to stop that. And we're going to try something here. So we'll jump over to UEFI and DHCP options. And we're going to try just the standard. If I could type ipixie.efi. And we'll come back to our VM and try this again. So far, I've not had a lot of luck in my testing. But Fog makes available two different images for booting iPixie for UEFI and two for normal BIOS boot. Okay, so this one is listing access denied. Failed to load boot 0003 UEFI PXE version 4 blah blah blah. Okay. So that's not going so well. So we're just going to stop this VM. All right, so let's see. Let's see. If we come over here, let's see. Let's try this. Okay, what do I have? I've got Virtualbox on here. So I believe, somebody correct me if I'm just overtired and not thinking this through correctly, but does not Windows 11 require UEFI, or is it Secure Boot? And Secure Boot requires UEFI. Okay, so this is showing the TPM 2.0. Let's play. Let's play. God, it's been a while since I've used Virtualbox. Okay, so this is not a sysprepped image. Just so I'm stating that right up front. What is it showing is invalid? Oh, graphics. What is configured to use 3D acceleration? should take care of that issue. Okay, so we're going to try and see if this fails as well. We're going to try to boot this from the network and see if we have any luck. Loading Windows Boot Manager, so it's not looking like we're catching the Pixie boot. But at least it's a different error message. So just for the sake of argument, the issue I had earlier resulted in this message. Let me take myself out of the reading area. So I got this message. Configuring was okay. It's got the IP address. The gateway is correct. Next server is 69. File name is ipixie.efi. Could not boot image. Exec format error. I think I know why this happened. I think I may not have completely turned on the UEFI option in Proxmox on that particular VM. So I think that's why that issue happened. But I've been okay. Is it going to let me type here? Does not appear so. It looks like it's still chugging along. Well, this is not going well. So when I go to record my video tomorrow, and it will be a recorded video tomorrow, we're likely going to just do a... This is all kinds of laggy tonight. Give me the terminal. Wow. This is bonkers tonight. Yep, this is... no, go away, go away, go away. Thank you. Okay. So I don't want to finish setting up this machine. All I want to do is shut it down. And let's see what we can change for settings and maybe have a little bit better luck. Updates are underway. Go figure. Okay, so we'll go to plan B. This VM that I'm just starting is in fact set up. It's got an EFI disk. So that's good. The BIOS is OVMF, which is UEFI. So that's good. And it's going to, one other thing will tip us off. If we continue, English. This screen is a little bit different when you've got UEFI. So install third party. And we're not going to configure secure boot. Since this is just a demo machine, but I did want to point out that difference. Install now. Continue. And for some reason, lately, it has kept putting me in Indianapolis, and I am very much in Michigan. So let's see. All right, we'll let that run. We'll check on this guy over here. Actually, it's still doing updates. Bugger. Well, that's not helpful. Windows always wants to do updates at the most inopportune times. So, what is everybody doing up? I know Joe's in Eastern time zone. I understand Jason being here. Gotta throw you West Coast people a bone once in a while, right? That's totally going to be my justification for this late night live stream. I'm doing it for the West Coasters. That makes all sorts of sense, right? Yeah. This is a little nuts, but hey, we're doing it. One thing I want to do is Google's being a turd. Yeah. Okay, so temporarily, you're going to see me. I need to fill out a form, and I don't think I'm supposed to show it, so I am going to do that off screen while everything's processing in the background. And so this will just take me real quick minute. Okay, I think I've got my stuff updated. Oh, I didn't update for yesterday, so I better do that before I forget. Oh, excuse me. All right. That ought to make the tracking sheet happy. Okay. I'm all set on that. And I can give you back this view of things, which is probably far more interesting to look at. Let's check out. Okay. While the other VM is installing, we could take a look at this again. Boot order. We're just going to turn off those being bootable so we don't end up back in Windows. And then maybe we'll have a little luck, or at least get to see an error message. I'm really not a fan of this new version of Virtualbox. It does not does not thrill me too much. I tell it not to boot to the hard drive and it does it anyways. How does that happen? 8:46 p.m. I'm chilling watching you doing some research for ingenious fit stuff. Nice. I have one eye closed listening to the dulcet tones of your voice. Great. Great. Okay. I really just want to know why it didn't just shut down or give me an error message. I really, really want to know that. Settings, system, network is the only thing selected for boot order. Yeah. So in all honesty, and I hate to say this because I really like the Fog project for a few things, especially now that they have got an updated version out. But I can see it being more useful for deploying Linux. And I haven't looked at the Debian installer for the desktop version in too much detail lately, but at least with Ubuntu and Mint, it does have an OEM installer version with a utility that is similar in the theory of operation, I guess you could say, as sysprep on Windows, where it generalizes the install so that you can clone it. But, okay, start boot option. With Windows, I discovered, and I guess I rediscovered it. There is the Open Endpoint Manager, which it's open source, always free, always open. But it does run on Windows. It does integrate with Active Directory. It's built on .NET and C#. You can do software deployment with it. You can do all kinds of other things that are common in a Windows-centric environment. And I almost think, after seeing the walkthrough on this, that this may be a better option for a Windows environment than what Fog is these days. That being said, I haven't used this. I don't have a testing Windows environment, nor can I really afford one to have it licensed properly. But they do pretty regular updates, more regular than what Fog has been doing lately. So 22 was a pretty hot year with 3 updates. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 updates in 2021, and at least a couple in 2020. So, you know, it's one of those things. This used to be called Crucible WDS, and it seems like there was one other name. They've changed names several times in the past few years. So, the OpenEM for Endpoint Manager, the OpenEM.com. They do have support plans, which is more than what I can say for Fog. And if you were running in a production environment full of Windows systems, you may want the support. $1,500 a year for standard and $2,500 for pro. So, you know, it's one of those considerations. Okay, install updates. We'll give this a shot, and if it doesn't fly, it doesn't fly. So, hi everybody. I know we've got currently 10 people watching. We had at 13 at one point here a minute or two ago. It doesn't hurt. I promise. All you have to do is subscribe. Be subscribed for 5 minutes, and you can join the chat. You can keep Jason and Joe company. Well, Joe might just be listening, and I'd have to read off the comments, but yeah. Anyways, doesn't hurt. You can join. Always interested in new people subscribing to the channel and participating in the chat. I'm sure everybody in the chat currently has had their shots. They won't bite you. Be kind of hard to through the internet anyways. So, out of curiosity, while we're waiting on updates here, has anybody played with one of these Flipper Zero devices? Just out of curiosity. It seems pretty cool. It's got some pretty interesting uses here for cloning NFC and doing Bluetooth stuff. It's got an infrared transceiver. The thing that gets me right now is that they are sold out. Oh, be still my heart. They are actually showing as in stock here temporarily. I'm sure that won't last long. Flipper Zero is selling for $169 directly from them. If you want to get it from the Amazon, you're going to be adding another $100 because people are snatching them up and gouging the prices in a big way. So, see if, let's see. Jason, you can get one on Joom. So, I think they're a pretty cool device. I'm trying to talk myself out of buying one. I don't need to spend that kind of money right now, but I'm still watching, but wife is telling me it's sleep time. Well, yeah, I've heard of the flipper. Watch a video of a guy using it to change traffic lights. Yeah, I've heard of them doing that. I didn't watch that particular video, but I saw some other interesting things like opening the charging door on a Tesla. So that's kind of interesting. Joe, if you've got to go, farewell, my friend. Uh, you don't want to get on the bad side of Ashley, so anybody that has been married or any longer term relationship, shall I say, knows that you don't want to get on the bad side of the significant other. Okay, so computer is up to date. So what we're going to do is we're going to shut this down. And we are going to clone it. Because then I got the original to mess with. And we'll let that do its thing. And so that's going to jump to VM 110. Because I don't quite have this node configured the same as the other one. So we'll give that a minute. And then we'll start playing a little bit. So I still am perplexed by the lack of being able to get this to go over UEFI. Boot over UEFI and be cloned. Now, what I've done in the past, when I was teaching IT classes, we had to, my class and we had to image the new computers for the vocational college. And what we ended up doing is putting all of them in legacy mode, pushing the image out from fog, and then changing them back to UEFI mode. And everything worked pretty well. It was just a couple extra steps. Not ideal if you're doing a huge number of machines, but if you're up against a time crunch, it's better than having to do them individually. So I suppose we could do is turn off UEFI. If we come back to Unify, And we change this back to UNDI only .kpxe. Apply changes. And then come back here. So we turned off UEFI. Just want to double check this. So the boot order should go to network. So with a little bit of luck, it should boot. That looks better. So we're going to register, do quick registration. So at least this is a workaround. This is not ideal, like I said, but for a VM environment, it doesn't really hurt anything. Of course, in a VM environment, I normally just run everything in BIOS mode or legacy mode anyways. So let's go over here to fog, just for grins, and to hosts, list all. Probably this one. Don't have an image for it yet, so we need to do a new image. Win11 VM, Windows, single disk, resizable, and turn it up to 11, right? So we go to hosts, list all hosts, and come here, and we're going to associate the Windows 11 image with that. And then we can set up a capture task. Task successfully created. So if we come to tasks, we can, I'm going to kill that one for the time being. And we'll jump over to Windows 11 here. And that should boot and start capturing. Let it go for just a minute, and yeah, Spectre mitigation, blah, blah, blah. It's a VM. I'm not worried. I am not worried at this point. Okay, that's resizing SDA3, so that's doing what it's supposed to. We come back to the dashboard on fog. We should start seeing some activity. And while that's doing its thing, we can come back here and check on the Ubuntu clone. And we will start this up. And once the Windows machine is done, then we'll switch the image back in UEFI to be the UEFI image, and we'll see if we can capture from this monster. I'm not holding my breath, but we will see what happens. Did I register this machine? Guess we could, yeah. What I want to do on this one, just for grins, is a quick backup. And then we've got some options to keep using it for other testing after we restart, just in case. Okay, so this is doing its thing, and about 7 minutes remaining on this. All right, so come back to, I don't know, this side. Ooh, 4425 now. I've had some people ask, you can now filter by new replies to comments you responded to. Great. I've had people ask about the upgrade process from previous versions of Fog, and all you have to do is rerun the installer. People wanted to know, somebody wanted to know what distribution I recommend for Fog. I've mostly installed it on Ubuntu and Debian. I have done one install using, I forget whether it was either Rocky or Elma Linux, just because I don't think I'd ever installed it on a Red Hat type system. The big difference there is that you have to turn off their they've got that extra security piece built in, and I forget even the name of it right off the top of my head. But in order for the install to complete without issues, you've got to turn that off. And there are ways to re-enable it after the fact. But you'd have to build some rules to make sure that Fog is going to operate correctly. That is not a path I have gone down. Yeah. And I think that's, let's see. I am doing an initial setup video. I'm planning to record that, well, I guess today. 2 people have asked for the complete install video, and that's my next up on the list of videos that I'm planning to record. So at this point, we're just waiting out the part clone process in Fog for that Windows 11 VM. And then we'll get everything shut down. We'll change it back to UEFI, and it should boot back up. Cloning stuff without sysprepping for Windows is kind of sketchy, unless you're restoring it to the same machine. So your mileage may vary, but I don't really get too far into that anymore because I'm not working in a large enough environment where I have to worry about a massive cloning system in the library I currently work at. So once we get a few more computers, that's going to have to change. But right now, things are pretty easy for the most part to keep things going. So that's doing its thing. We can boot this back up, and just for the sake of argument, when you do an OEM install, you can go in and do your updates. You can install software. So I'm good there. Get more security updates through Ubuntu Pro with ESM apps enabled. Okay. So maybe we want to have NeoFetch and HTOP installed. I can tell I'm getting tired. It's also warm in this room. So this way, those will be installed once we clone and start rolling this out to other VMs or physical machines, as the case might be, if we choose to do so. I may run Ubuntu on my ThinkPad for a little while just to play with cloning on a physical machine. I'll back up the Pop! OS image that I've got installed, and then deploy out an Ubuntu image, likely one that I'll have built in a VM first, and just see how that all works. So, but of course, what we're really looking at here is once we've made our modifications, and I made a few, not a huge bunch, but we've got a backup so I can roll back to that. Once we've made our modifications, we can do prepare for shipping to end user. And so OEM config will run the next time system boots. Now, OEM config is going to be very similar to your out-of-box experience, or OOBE, that you get on a new Windows system. So we'll shut this one down. We've got a backup of this VM. We've also got the original Ubuntu OEM UEFI VM sitting over here that we can always clone again if we need to. So let's check our status on the Windows machine. And that is in fact powered off. So we can come back in here to System, enable the hard disk, move network down, and enable UEFI again. And it should, knock on wood, it should boot up just the way it was before. So, yeah, and it's starting up just fine. All right. Now, we will jump over to our Ubuntu UEFI clone. We're going to start it. Okay, so that is in fact in UEFI mode. We're going to let that continue. Hopefully Fog will pick it up. And it did not. So, all right, well, we'll just go through the first run on here. So obviously English. Why does it keep doing Indianapolis? Okay, so this is going to finish configuration, and we may have to reboot, but we'll be able to use this, right? Okay, guest agent's not running on that. We want to start this. And I'll probably end up doing some more testing with this tomorrow and over the weekend. But I know UEFI has been a bit of a roller coaster ride for the Fog developers anyways. Okay, so do we have a backup of this one? We do not. That's all right. We've always got this one to go back to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a shutdown. We're going to go into options and boot order and move network up, because I want to try to get it registered or make sure it's registered in Fog. Where? So we want To go back to the ipixie.efi, fog, okay, so we want to try this. And with a little luck, start Pixie over IPv4. And we get the error message again. Failed to boot. Yeah, okay. So then the other option we've got over here is the snp only.efi. And we'll try this again. Start Pixie over IPv4. File downloaded successfully. Loading boot 0003. UEFI. Failed to load. Access denied. Which is interesting. Okay, so back to the BIOS version. Which is not, again, not the ideal way to do it, but we go to hardware and we go to BIOS. Switch it back to CBIOS. And I would almost bet we're going to do option 1 for iPixie. Just want to make sure this is registered. And hopefully, attempting to register host. Turn that back off. And now if we come down to fog, we can go to hosts, list all hosts. This has to be the guy that was just done. Ubuntu UEFI. Even though we're going to capture it as a BIOS, I'm going to leave those alone. I'm just going to update here. And then we're going to come to list all hosts. And we're going to go to the yellow icon, which is capture. Schedule with shutdown. Task is created. We can see the list of tasks over here. Jump back to the dashboard. And we will start the process. Oh, wow. I guess I am going to get a full JAU tonight. And that looks like it's going to go. So, again, not the ideal way to do it, but it is a workaround if you're in a bind and you need to deploy. Again, I would almost suggest using a different product for a Windows environment. However, there might be some other configuration that can be done. I also have been doing this just with VMs, so once I try this with a physical machine, I may be able to report something different. So that's something I will be looking at. I also, for the install video, the fog install video that I'll be doing, I've got a dedicated SSD so that I've got plenty of space for the slash images, and that will give me some options as far as ways to back it up and different things of that nature. So this is moving at a decent clip. But on that note, I think I'm going to wrap this up. We've been through this process before and once in this live stream already, so I'm going to call it a night. Thank you all for watching. There's 24 of you watching. If you're not going to subscribe, then at least do me a solid and hit that like button down below. I can use all the support I can get as I go through this crazy month of doing daily content. So I guess that's all for tonight. And be on the lookout. I will be doing a full install video for Fog in a Proxmox VM with a separate SSD for storage for Fog images. So be on the lookout for that in the next day or two. Depending on how it turns out tomorrow, it may be delayed till Saturday. So have a good night, everybody. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for your support. Have a good night.